Okay, good morning everybody, and welcome to our water clinic presentation. I again wanted to thank everybody. Those of you listening to the recording don't know what the ordeal was to just get online, but we had lots of fun technical difficulties to get this lined up. So, but I think we're all set to go here. So let's get started without a lot of other delay here. So, as you all know, very first thing I do with every presentation that I give is I like to start off with a thank you. It does mean a ton to me that you all have taken your time here to spend and to learn. I'm honored to be able to serve you in this way, and I do appreciate the opportunity. It's always my goal to make sure that the information that I give to you is at least as valuable as the time you're giving to me, and I do appreciate how valuable that is. So, all right, so what we're going to talk about today, water clinics, because that is the title of this presentation, is water clinics. We're going to talk quite a bit about that. The what, when, where, why, how, all of that. And then we are going to kind of talk about some home shows as well, because home show season is coming up, so we're going to talk a little bit about home shows. Some of you may have seen that presentation before, but there's always a lot of information on that, and the feedback that I get from the home show portion of that is that it really is a new, completely different approach on dealing with the home shows for a lot of people, the way to make them valuable and lucrative. So we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff about home shows. All right, so let's get started on the water clinics part of it. One thing I do want to say is we have the chat window open. We are going to be recording. I mean, this is being recorded, so you've got the chats that are being recorded as well. And we've got enough people on here that that I want this to be kind of a discussion. I want to be able to answer any questions that you guys have to make sure that that we cover pretty much everything that you want to talk about. We started talking about water clinics on one of our Thursday morning MD Pro calls, and there were a ton of questions. That call is always a half-hour long, and we had a ton of questions on how to do them, and so I want to make sure that all the stuff is covered and that we answer all the questions for you guys. Okay. All right. So here's a little background on the water clinics. When I first got in the business about 15 years ago, I went to, most of you know, if you know anything about Moti-Vitality and my history and where I work, I kind of grew up in a Kinetico world. I started off as a Kinetico sales guy, and I'd gone down to one of the academies that the manufacturer had. The manufacturer sometimes, occasionally would do sales training academies. And a very dynamic sales trainer at the time. His name was Mike Ferris. He was just an awesome guy. And he was very energetic, very good. Really helped kind of prepare my road into sales in the water treatment industry. But one of the things that he talked about was these water clinics. And I thought it was an awesome idea. And what he talked about, the way he described it, was he was talking about ways to generate business, ways to create leads, and I loved this idea of setting up a booth somewhere and having people bring you water samples. And he talked about doing them at grocery stores and at beauty salons and just all these different places that he talked about doing these water clinics, and people would actually bring water samples to you, and you could test them right then and there and talk to them, and you get leads, and it was awesome. I was like, wow, this is a great idea. So at break, I went up to him and I said, tell me more about these water clinics. This is awesome. And he said, oh, you know who you should talk to, and he gave me the name of a company, one of the dealers that apparently had done water clinics in the past. So I wrote down their name and number, and I called them that Monday, the following Monday after I got back to got back to Michigan, and I called them up and I got in touch with them, and they said, yeah, we did that once or twice. It was okay. And I said, how did you do it? Well, I don't know. The sales guy that did it, he really doesn't work here anymore, and you know, I don't know if anything really ever came out of it. And I talk about a deflating letdown because I just loved this idea. So when I went out in sales, this idea kind of stuck to me because I'll tell you, those of you who know me, you may know that I'm not a big fan of the whole door knocking thing and the whole, I don't know, for me, the best way of getting involved in sales and getting sales was to come up with easy ways of doing it. I mean, if you got to knock on 100 doors to get 2 people to say yes, then my thought is I'm going to look at those 2 people that said yes, and I'm going to find a way to go more to those 2 people. But mostly because I don't like spending the time to knock on the 98 doors, and also I'm kind of a sensitive guy, and I don't like getting 98 no's. I'm sorry, I'm getting a private note here. So I'm getting. I got distracted. I can only do one thing at once, apparently. Somebody's sending me a little private note here on another technical difficulty. I just forwarded it over to Jim. So thanks. So anyway, I like to work, but I like dealing with people. I don't like the actual getting the sales part, having to go out there. So for me, I always look for ways to make that a lot easier. That's why anybody who's read my book or who's actually been directly with the training that I do, for me it was all about relationship building. I would rather build a relationship with a builder or a realtor or a plumber or I don't know, an appliance store or somebody like that, and let them send people to me and get those referrals. So for me, I love the relationship building part. I didn't really like the actual sales part. And these water clinic ideas, I'm like, wow, this is great. People will actually come to me. If they bring me a water sample, that means they're actually interested in having me test the water rather than me going and knocking on their door and saying, hey, can I come test your water? If they bring me a sample, it's kind of giving me permission. So I love this idea, but I couldn't really find anybody that had ever done one successfully. So I'm the kind of guy that when I look at that, I get a little frustrated and I say, well, you know what, screw it. I guess I'm going to have to invent it myself, come up with this idea myself. So what you're going to hear on the water clinic stuff is stuff that I came up with. It worked very well for me. I've duplicated it by showing other people, a lot of other people, and it's worked very well for them. This kind of thing can work really well if you're doing kiosk at a mall, or I know some of you are working with hardware stores and you're working with different places, but we're going to talk about getting them set directly up from scratch. Okay, so we're going to talk about how I set them up and where to do them and how to do them and how to go about setting them up, and I want to make sure that I answer all the questions that you guys have. So here's the water clinic idea. Here's what we do. All right, so I did my graphics and I didn't get to use them. So basically, I was very frustrated with the guy, the little shadow guy pulling his hair out, because I was very frustrated that I couldn't get anybody to tell me how to do this. So, okay, materials. All right, so here's your materials list. This is what you're going to need: a table and a tablecloth, a canopy, a test kit, flyers maybe, banner, customer information sheets, consumer confidence report, possibly bottled water, and a bucket. And maybe if you want to throw some other stuff in, we're going to talk about each of these individually. Okay. And by the way, the pictures that you see here are pictures from a water clinic that we did, that I did when I was in sales. This particular day, we were doing free arsenic testing in Michigan, and that day we tested over 100 samples, 100 water samples that day, and as it turns out, we sold 12 ROs and like 4 softeners and iron filters just from that one day, and I'll show you what the cost was and how we did it and how we set it up. All right, so in terms of your materials, and I have an estimated cost on what I think this would probably cost you. Each, and we're going to total this up and tally it up. Because those of you, I don't know if there's anybody listening to this call who actually manages or does home shows on what a cost is to set up a home show. But the things that we're going to talk about here, once you purchase them, that's it. There's very, very little cost. There's a one-time cost associated with most of this stuff, because once you have it, you can use it over and over and over again. Okay. So you need a table and a tablecloth. And I usually use a 6-foot table. You can find a 6-foot table at Big Lots for probably $25, or I don't know if they have Big Lots everywhere you guys are, but Kmart or Walmart or whatever, the local hardware store, wherever you're going, I'm sure you can find a 6-foot table, fold-up table for probably $25, $30 tops. And then a tablecloth, maybe another $25, $30. So I put $75 on that for a cost. Pretty simple. That's all it is. And I like the tablecloth because you can put stuff up underneath the table and keeps your booth area a little nicer. Okay. Materials, you need a canopy, one of those easy up canopies. You can find those under $100, but usually they're right around $100. So now we've got a total cost of about $175 so far. This is just one of those easy up canopies that you can find. If you want to letter it with your company logo or name, then maybe you get some stickers, and that might add a little bit more cost to it. But basically just $100. So that brings our total up to $175. And by the way, I am monitoring the chats here. So if you have a question, feel free to pop in a question as we go through any of these, and I'll try and get to those and answer them. Test kit, you probably already have a test kit. So I'm not going to add that into the cost because probably you're already there. So but you are going to need your test kit there. Maybe it would add a little cost if you had a problem water test kit, and we'll talk about what to test for and stuff like that. So possibly a few extra little tests that would be beyond what you would normally do in the home. I know when I was in sales, I actually invested in a problem water test kit that was a little bit more. And that problem water test kit had manganese, it had hydrogen sulfide, it had arsenic, it had some different problem water issues that you could test for, which was a little nicer when it came to doing a water clinic, because you could test a little beyond what you would normally test for in the home. Flyers. This is one that we created, a very simple one that we created for, we did a water clinic, water testing at Murph's Gym one time. So flyers, I figure just to create them on a computer and cut them in half, and we'll talk about what to do with the flyers here in a little bit, but cost max $50 for the paper and the photocopies. I'd say maximum $50, probably way less than that. Banner is going to be one of your biggest expenses. I don't know where I got photocopy. I didn't change that apparently. I thought you don't want to photocopy your banner, but the banner, you are going to need your banner to be a better material. Here's the mistake that I made the first time we ordered a banner. We ordered it kind of cheap. But if you get a two-sided banner and you order it with thick material, and you want to do it with thick material and grommets on it, you really want to do a banner right the first time, okay? Because the wind will capture it, it'll catch it like a parachute, and it'll rip it to heck, and you'll end up having to use it more than, you'll only get one or two uses out of it. So get a banner and get it made with really good, thick, solid material, okay? Get grommets in it. And in fact, if you have a place along the top of the banner, when you get the banner, if you can get up along the top of the banner here, if there's a place to put a rod in there so it doesn't sag. I'm going to show you a picture of one that we hung, and what we did. And I have poles. I'm going to show you the poles and how we did that. But in fact, what we did is on some of ours, we just got some of the green garden stakes, and we put them in, and we hung the banner on either side of it. But the problem is that wind will catch that. It will sometimes sag. So if you can get a pole, if you can get something that allows you to put a dowel up along the top of that banner, that will keep it from sagging in the middle, and it will also make it last a little bit longer. It's just a lot easier to hook up, okay, to hook that banner up, particularly if you're going to use the banner and set it up for a week ahead of time. Now, the other thing on this banner that you may notice is that these words, you may not notice it, but they're there. These words, these are Velcroed. This whole bottom section here is Velcroed. Okay, so you can change the day, you can change the time. So all of these numbers, all of these times, when we ordered this banner, we got a bunch of them to where we could just change the days and change the times and just slap on a Velcro on when that was going to be. So we were able to Velcro it directly onto the banner. It was a two-sided banner. Now, in terms of making poles, what I've seen a lot of people do is they'll get a pipe and then they'll get some old tires or a 5-gallon bucket and then fill it with concrete, and then they have those poles. And that becomes pretty nice because you can actually then set the banner up on a parking lot or on concrete somewhere without having to punch, a pole down into dirt or find a tree or something like that. So that could add a little bit of extra cost to this as well. But my big suggestion is do not go cheap on the banner. Okay, that will definitely, you'll regret it. It'll rip and it'll just look like crap. So don't go cheap on the banner. Okay. Customer info form. Don't call it a lead sheet, although that's basically what these are. Okay. The reason I say don't call it a lead sheet is you get in the habit. The whole thing with these water clinics is it should be, and we're going to talk about how to approach them and what to say with them and what to do with them, but the whole thing should be about serving the customer. It should be about helping the customer. Okay, and if you come in, and what happens is salespeople, they'll get in the habit, they'll say, here, if you just fill out this lead sheet here, then if you fill the information out on this lead sheet, that sounds like sales to me. If I was going somewhere and somebody asked me to put all my information on a lead sheet, I don't really want to be their lead. If I'm coming in there to get my water tested, I don't want to be their lead. I want to be, I don't mind coming in and getting my water tested, but I don't want to be a sales lead. Being somebody's sales lead raises all kinds of alarms to me. It means that somebody's going to start calling me and emailing me and sending me things and texting me, and I don't want to be somebody's sales lead. And so I recommend not calling them a lead sheet. I recommend calling them an information form, a customer information form, or a client information form, something that is not, that doesn't sound like they're going to be a sales lead. Okay. Pack of those, if you print them out yourself or make photocopies or whatever, I put $25 on that. I guess if you're using them a bunch or if you have a standard one, it could be more than that. I have some samples of those. If you guys need them too, I can show those to you and pull them out. But they're pretty easy to make. You just have basic information. Some of the information that you want to put on this sheet, by the way, are because you do want the customer, ideally when the customers come out, you do need to get information about their water sample, about their water analysis. So some of the information that needs to be on this information form is how old is the sample? When was the sample taken? Where did they take it from? Is it hot water, cold water? Was it through water? Do they have existing equipment? Did they take the sample to existing equipment? Did they rinse the bottle out? Was the bottle rinsed? There's all kinds of relevant information about the water sample. Those of you that have taken the Certified Water Specialist exam or that are taking our webinar course, you know that when it comes to doing water analysis, the more information you can have about how the sample was taken or about the sample, the more information you can have about the sample that you're testing, the better. It does make a difference. Things can change if the water's been sitting there for 10 days in the car. The water can change when it's been in that bottle. One of the things that you want to put on this information sheet also is why are they bringing the sample to you? are there any concerns that you're specifically wanting us to test for? Is it soft water, or did it come straight out of your well? Some people will bring you samples because they want to know if their water softener is working. Some people will bring you samples because they want to know how hard their water is, or how much iron is in their water. Some people will bring you samples because they'll misunderstand what you're doing. They'll think that you're testing for bacteria and whether their water is going to kill them or not. That will happen, and we're going to talk about how to address that, how to deal with that in a minute. But you want to put on this information sheet why they have brought this sample to you. What concerns do they have? Is there anything specifically that they're requesting you test for? Okay. But you want something there that people are bringing you samples, they're bringing you information. You need to use it as an opportunity to gather their information, find out their names, their phone numbers, their addresses, so that you can follow up with it too. Okay. I like, especially if you're doing water in a city, around the city, I like pulling the Consumer Confidence Report, the CCR. Okay. I don't know if this should be standard practice whether you guys are doing water clinics anyway. If you have any customers at all that have that are on city water or municipal water, it's the law. They have to have this Consumer Confidence Report. It's the law that you just go down to the water department and ask for one. Most of the time you can find them online now. They're printed online. If you have not read your local Consumer Confidence Report from the city, I don't know, that would surprise me. You should go down and read it. If you haven't already, I strongly recommend you do. It spells out exactly what's in the water, how often they test. It has a lot of information, and the problem is customers will read this stuff or look at it, and they don't have a clue what it says. And if you are a water treatment expert, that you are truly a professional, you're an expert in your field, in your business, then you should know this thing. Know it so that when somebody shows it to you, you're not deciphering through it, trying to figure out how to read it too. So get a hold of one, study it, learn how to read it, learn how to explain it. Because people are going to come, this is going to add some credibility to you as well. When you're doing these water clinics, people will come to you and they'll ask you questions about this. And you should have one there. In fact, have a few of them to hand out. In fact, if you're doing it in a city water area, why not get a bunch of them and hand them out, to people when they're coming? I mean, most municipalities are really proud of these Consumer Confidence Reports. They do them up really nicely. I've seen them, and they use them as marketing, and they're really proud of them. So if you use that as an opportunity, make the city your ally, not your enemy. The cool thing about the water treatment industry, I mean, the city usually does a pretty good job of keeping people from dying. I mean, when's the last time you heard about people dying from drinking their city water? I mean, considering how many people they have to treat water for, they do a pretty good job of it. It could be better. We know the water could be significantly better. I mean, the city's only going to take the hardness down to 5 to 7 grains, and it's going to have a lot of chlorine in it and probably quite a bit of TDS. So the city is a good starting point, but we can go further. We can make the water even better. But we can use the Consumer Confidence Report, make the city an ally. Talk about how good a job they do considering how many people they treat. And then focus on the fact that what we're there to do is to make the water even better, okay, is to improve it even more. But use that Consumer Confidence Report to earn credibility with the customers that are bringing you the water. These are free, like I said. Okay. 5-gallon jug. Some of the companies, some of you out there may be selling 5-gallon jugs or delivering bottled water. If so, that's nice. I like having a 5-gallon jug of reverse osmosis water, and you'll see in the pictures that we have the water clinics. We have one of these set up, and we have just one of these hand pumps here. With the pump's optional. Maybe you just get some 5-gallon jugs. The reason I like those is I like to use that to rinse out my test tubes. I like to start with reverse osmosis water, and I like to use the reverse osmosis water to rinse out my testing tubes. that. And it's a great way to explain. See, this a lot of times is a segue, right? Because if you have multiple people coming, if you happen to be fortunate enough to where you have people in line waiting to have their water tested, which does happen sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you'll get stragglers coming in into these water clinics, and we are going to talk about where to set them up and what to expect when you set them up. But having a jug like this, in addition to being able to use it to rinse out your test tubes and make sure that you're testing that customer's water, not the last customer's water, because you're putting RO water in there, right? So you're rinsing those test tubes out with RO water. I like having a pump on the top of it because it just makes it portable right there. But it's also a great opportunity to talk about reverse osmosis water. You're talking to the customer. So what I'm going to do here first is just rinse out your test tubes, make sure that I'm testing your water. This is reverse osmosis water. It's very, very high quality water. It doesn't have any of the other stuff in it that you might normally find in water. So are you familiar with reverse osmosis? This is basically purified water that you can have right at your kitchen tap, actually, for a fraction of the cost of what it costs to buy it. So, when you mentioned about making the water better, I like to mention final barrier. Yeah, actually, very, very good, Sam. Final barrier is huge. And that is the term that WQA is using right now too. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so all right, so have a 5-gallon jug there for a reason. I figure a pump and the 5 gallons is going to cost you, if you don't already sell those things, it's going to cost you about $35. Pump itself would be probably $30, between 20 and $30, and you can find those anywhere. And those are also great for camping. I use it when I go camping. I stick it right on the 5-gallon jug. It's pretty nice. So, okay, and then a 5-gallon bucket. Now, most of you should already have a 5-gallon bucket as one of your critical sales tools anyway. I strongly recommend that you have a 5-gallon bucket with you when you're going into the home anytime, because they're just, if you're testing for water pressure or flow rates or standard sediment or color, have a white bucket, a white 5-gallon bucket with you. It's just an awesome, awesome tool to have. We are working in water. But the reason I like to have a bucket with me there is you need a place to dump your chemicals, okay? Don't dump these things out on the ground. Even if it's not going to do any harm, the perception is not good. You don't want to dump these chemicals out on the ground, particularly if you're doing this at a strip plaza or a party store, or they call them party stores here in Michigan. They're convenience stores everywhere else. But if you're out in somebody's lot there, you don't want to dump these chemicals all over the ground. So have a 5-gallon bucket that you can dump your waste chemicals into, okay, that you can rinse that stuff out. It just adds more professionalism to you. It shows that you're caring about what you're doing. 5-gallon bucket, $5. Okay. Other materials, giveaways. If you're giving something away, I'm not a huge fan of giveaways, but maybe if you're having if your company does bottled water, I know a lot of people do private labeled bottled water. So maybe you have some ice cold bottled water there that you're giving away. Balloons, maybe you're giving away balloons to kids, or you've got to be careful with balloons. Some parents kind of freak out about their kids having balloons. But if maybe you're doing a drawing, there's a lot of other things. I never did any of that gimmicky stuff like that. What I did do sometimes when it was a little cold, or hot, we did give away cold water, bottled water, ice cold bottled water. We did do that. Some places would have a store drawing. I've seen them do that. I never really did that, but you can do that. If you're trying to get people into the store, a lot of times, what I have seen work for other things, even at home shows, is giving away like a coupon for 1 free bag of salt. 1 free bag of salt to their store. So go to the store and get 1 free bag of salt. I mean, almost always when somebody comes in to buy 1 free bag of salt, or to pick up their 1 free bag of salt, they're going to also buy filters or 3 or 4 extra bags of salt. Okay, So a coupon when you're doing stuff like this for one free bag of salt will get them into the store. But at the water clinics, I never really did that a whole lot. That's the kind of stuff that some people do at the home shows that works pretty well. Coffee is a good one, though. I mean, if it's a little colder out, I have given away coffee and tea. You make that and you make it with reverse osmosis water. It's a good way to talk to them about reverse osmosis and how much better it tastes and everything. All right, so this is a picture of an actual water clinic that I did. We in Michigan, now, like I said, we worked at a Kinetico dealer, so I'm hoping that some of you that are non-Kinetico people out there, you understand that Moti-Vitality works for the industry. We represent the industry, not one particular manufacturer. As long as you're representing this industry with integrity and in quality, then I strongly support what you're doing. It really doesn't matter to me which manufacturer you represent. But this particular one, we're in a strip plaza, and I'm going to show you a snapshot of the Google Maps picture of that here in a second, so you can see where it was that we set up. But so there's a busy road over here on the top one here. There was a busy road on the left. To the right of all of this was a strip plaza, and we were on the grassy strip between the busy road and the strip plaza. So we pulled up a trailer just for visibility. We have the canopy here. Here's our table, and here's our banner. Now this was in Michigan when arsenic was a huge issue. It was just coming up. It was all over, and that attributed to the popularity of this particular water clinic. But we did free arsenic tests. And you can see in the 4 hours that we did it, how there were people lined up waiting here. I mean, I was so glad that we had enough people there to test, but there were people in line waiting. And the cool thing is that an arsenic test, it took 12 minutes to complete the arsenic test. And what was great about it was by the time we would give the results, some of the people standing in line waiting to have their water tested they would tell us, so we'd tell one person, oh great, it looks like you're pretty clear. Now, with the arsenic test that we were doing, there were color tests, and here's how we would handle that, because arsenic is a health-related issue. So what we would tell people is we would say, this test is an indicator. It's a strong indicator. Now, they're fairly accurate. So what I would tell you is if it comes up, and this is what I would say to the customers, if this test comes up non-detectable, I feel pretty confident that you don't have arsenic in your water or in the sample that you're bringing in. If it does show that you have some arsenic in your water, my recommendation is that you then take your water over to a laboratory, an independent laboratory, or the health department to have it tested, somebody that does not have a vested interest in selling you something. Okay, so what was awesome about this is while there were people in line, some of the people in line would hear us tell other people, oh great, looks like you don't have any arsenic in your water, you're looking pretty good there. And we would test other things there too. Okay, we were testing for hardness and softeners and stuff like that. I mean, there were other tests that we would do, and we would ask people on the information forms what all they were concerned with, what all they wanted us to test for. We would ask them, would you like us to only test for arsenic, or do you want to know, how much hardness and iron, and I mean, we could also test for nitrates with the water and all of that. So we ran a whole gamut of testing for them, but it was great when the people in back heard us tell somebody that they didn't have arsenic, because what do you expect, right? When you're doing arsenic testing, especially if it's a water treatment company, these people are coming expecting you to tell them oh my God, you have arsenic, you got to fix this, you got to do this. And so it added a lot of credibility for them to hear us say, to tell other people ahead of them that they didn't have arsenic in the water. And there were a fair number of them that did. And interestingly enough, even though we recommended that they all go down to have their water independently tested through a lab, hardly anybody ever did, because we were credible, because the very fact that we recommended they go do that to verify it, I think added credibility to us. And like I said, we put in 12 ROs that day, resulting from this one day. It was a really, really successful clinic. And then, so here's the screenshot. So we were here's the strip plaza. There were 2 of them, and we were in this section right here. We set up right here where we set up. And so there's a busy road coming through, and then so you could see all the way through that. You know, you can see our banner. We put the banner up. Now we put the banner up a week ahead of time. So because we had it Velcroed. So if you go back and you look at that, it said the banner says free arsenic testing today. This section was Velcroed on, and so we throughout the course of the week it said free arsenic testing Saturday in the 2 is when we did that. So we had that Velcroed up. Now, and then that day, that Saturday, we actually took it and put the word today on there. I don't know why we don't have the time on there, but so that any questions so far as we're going through this on just some location and materials and what we're doing? Any questions so far? Okay. So just some places that I recommend that you can set up a water clinic. Strip plazas are always good. My experience has been that finding a strip plaza that is privately owned, a lot of these strip plazas have like the big corporate stores in them. I haven't had a lot of luck with those. You know, when they're owned by a management company that goes in, and there's liability, there's insurance. Once you start getting into more of the corporate type atmosphere, it's a lot harder to get permission to set up and do these kind of water clinics. So a privately owned little strip plaza or a smaller one, with smaller businesses, that's where I've always had success. Are those, especially if if you're talking to a customer that, I mean, you do. A lot of you have customers out there. I'm sure that you have customers that are involved in real estate or know these kinds of, or have contacts with these kind of places. Develop a relationship with the businesses themselves. This is one of the things I always found some success in being able to do this, because if I found a strip plaza that had a beauty salon, in fact, this particular one had both a hardware store in it and a beauty salon, and we had relationships with both of the companies in there. So we were already earning referrals and doing a lot of work with both the hardware store and the beauty salon. So it was really easy to get permission to go out and do this water clinic in this particular area. We did what we did with the flyers in this plaza is we printed up a bunch of them, and we just put them in the on the counters. We went through and put them all on the counters, so it kind of advertised it. Although honestly, the people that came, when you ask people how did they hear about us, how did they find us, almost all of them found us by the banner. They were driving by and saw it that day. Convenience stores. Now, I like the convenience stores, but I especially like the convenience stores that are way, way, way out in the boonies. Now, I want to give you a hint on how I built the relationship with the convenience stores. Is a lot of times, if where I work, my sales territory was 45 minutes away from the office. The closest place for them to go buy filters, or salt, or O-rings was a big one. They'd change their filter and dump the O-ring into a sump pump. So what I did is I went to, and this works great with hardware stores as well, if you're looking to build a relationship with them. What I did is I would go into the owner and I'd say, look, I have a dilemma. Our closest location is 45 minutes. I have a lot of customers out here. Right now, when they need to, if they forget to buy filters, or if it takes them a little while to get into the office to buy filters, then or O-rings or salts or whatever, they have to have them delivered. It would be awesome if there was a place locally here where they could go to buy filters. So what I would suggest is, I can have you guys carry a couple O-rings here. I'll just give them to you, and if you sell them, then you pay us for them. We'll give you 15% off. You make a little bit of money, but it would give me a way to, some place for me to direct my customers, so that they don't have to come all the way into our office. And So it was awesome because I had a relationship with a little convenience store in my area, way out in the middle of nowhere, way out in the boonies. It's called Countryway, and that's what I would tell people. They'd go, well, where do I get filters for this? Well, you can get them right from the office. We'll drop them in the mail, and we have an office in Brighton or Heartland. Or if you really need them, you can run right down here to Countryway. They're a couple bucks more, but he's got them right there, and you can pick them up from there. And that made it was like having a location right there. And then when we did because we already had the relationship with this little party store, this little convenience store way out in the middle of the boonies, we were doing water clinics all the time out there. People learned that they watched for them to bring samples in when we did them. So it does help when you're setting up these water clinics to have had a relationship or to build a relationship. So it does get a little more difficult to just walk right into a store and say, hey, can we use your parking lot to do a water clinic this weekend? It does help if you do this in conjunction with relationships you already have. Hardware stores are great, much for the same reason, especially if they're the privately owned ones. Keep in mind these hardware stores, like go into your local hardware store, you'll see they have other stuff in there that, I mean, they're privately owned. They carry stuff that customers are interested in. So you can develop relationships with them. Farmers markets may be good if you can get real estate at a farmers market. We did one in Columbus. We did a water clinic in front of a Whole Foods. That was awesome, actually. We went out and actually tested. People were very interested about that. They brought their water in, it was city water, and we were able to explain the consumer confidence report to them and everything. Feed and grain, we just worked with another company recently where they did a water clinic. They were having an open house for the spring open house, and they set up a water clinic and had a tremendous success from it. Feed and grains usually sell salt. They usually don't sell softeners or ROs or whatever. And if it's a feed and grain, chances are, I mean, almost all the customers that go to a feed and grain are on well water. They're all on, they're probably not on municipal water. They almost all have water softeners. So I mean, they're concerned with it. So those are good options. They're way out in the middle of the boonies somewhere, and it's just kind of nice to build those relationships. Park and rides, I've seen some people have done park and rides where they'll do these at in the morning where you carpool. You got to get up way early to go. If you set those up, you advertise it ahead of time that you're going to be bring us a sample on Saturday, bring us a sample on Monday, and we'll have the results for you on Tuesday. Okay, so you set it up, have people bring those samples in if you can advertise it. And what I know some people have done in the morning, they'll go out there and so people will bring them a water sample, give you your information. They go on and carpool and go on to work, and then you set up again on Tuesday, and you have their sample, you have the results for them. Give away coffee. Have coffee there ready. Have a cup of coffee ready for them to go. That's an idea for gyms. Same thing. You can have people bring sample in, tell them you'll test their water while they're in working out. Okay, so privately owned gyms work best. If you can set up a relationship with the gym, a lot of times gyms will offer classes, wellness classes, stuff like that. So you can do all of that too. To build those relationships up with those people. If you have a relationship with the company, then you're already a step ahead in doing a water clinic. Like I said, privately owned works, and out in the boonies works really well. And the reason I like it out in the boonies is, number one, you got a lot of rural people there that already own water softeners, and number two, you're not competing with the box stores. You're less competing with the big, huge box stores when you're doing all that. So what to test for? I like it. I like looking for problem water situations. If you have problem water, like for us, arsenic, I mean, something that people are concerned with, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, it could just be testing for total dissolve, all the stuff that you test for in the home. These are valuable tests. People, think about what you knew about water hardness before you came in the industry. You didn't know what hardness was. You'd heard the term, but you probably didn't know what it was. So hardness is a relevant test. Hardness and iron and pH and all the things that you test, total dissolved solids, all the things that you normally test for. Now, what's going to happen is people are going to come up to you and they're going to say, well, do you guys test for bacteria? I usually, first off, you probably don't have a field bacteria test because it has to set for a while in culture and all that stuff. So I usually focus on the fact that we're mostly testing for aesthetics, taste good, smells good, looks good, okay, the aesthetics. So make sure your customers understand that you are there as a starting point. You're not testing for health-related issues, and if there is a health-related issue, then make sure that they understand that that if it does come out positive, that they need to have that verified. I am looking at the time here, guys. I know that it's 10 o'clock. We got started here a little late because of the technical difficulties. I'm going to keep going and finish up here in about 15 minutes or so. Those of you that have to go, I understand, just because. And we are recording this. We'll get you the link. But hopefully you can stay on for 15 minutes. I do apologize again for the technical difficulties and the late start today. But okay. Like I said, if it's health-related, make sure that they understand that you have a vested interest in selling you something and that they go and have that tested independently, okay? Now, here's what I found, because I have taught people on water clinics, and here's what happened before is somebody will say, yeah, I tried that. Yeah, I tried it. It didn't work. And what I can tell you is I've done probably 50 or 60 water clinics in the time that I started doing it. Several, between 50 and 75, I guess, somewhere in that ballpark. And the vast majority of them have been successful. Now, what I mean by successful is people came to me on a Saturday and brought me water samples, and in almost every instance, we were able to sell at least one piece of equipment, in almost every instance. My thought, my version of success is, well, let's say it's Saturday between 10 and 2, and 3 people bring you water samples on Saturday between 10 and 2. Okay. What else are you doing on Saturday that has 3 qualified people bring you water samples? I mean, if there's something else that you're doing that gets you in front of 3 qualified people to test their water where they actually came to you, there's something else you're doing, do it. Go for it. But that's successful to me. If 5 people come, man, it's a great day. If 20 people come, holy moly, that's awesome. Because what else are you doing in that 4 hours that get you in front of that many qualified people? Now, I say that, and there are occasions, and I have these pictures up. This is a water clinic we did for a company out in Pennsylvania, one of our clients, and we set it up Saturday 10-2, did everything right. You had the canopy, the banner, the table, all of that stuff is the right place, and it poured down rain the entire day. So we had one person bring us a sample that whole day and talked to them for quite a while, but it was cold and rainy and nasty, and the longest 4 hours I've ever spent doing a water clinic. If that happens, evaluate it, figure out what to do next, see if there's anything you could have done differently, and don't give up on it. These things do work. I promise you, they work. And they will get you in front of people. Okay, any questions? That's the home show, or the water clinic part of that. Any questions on that? On any part of that, on how you'd set them up or where you'd set them up or what you'd do. Any comments or questions on that? Okay. We did test the hardness of the rain that day. It was like 4. It tested 4 grains. We tested pH. We did. That was one of our new guys. We were he was brand new with the company. We'd hired 4 of them, and we spent quite a bit of time testing rainwater and going through all that. So it was good. It was a good training day. Okay, home shows. Now I'm going to only blow through this pretty quick because it is home show season. So let me tell you what happens a lot of times with the way I imagine things happen at a home show. If it's anything like when I was married, my wife and I would get up on a Saturday morning and maybe in the fall or in the spring, kind of chilly that day, we decided, you know what, we're going to go let's go to the home show. We're going to maybe remodel the bathroom, the kitchen a little bit. Let's go do the home show. So we load the kids up, and we drive up. We pay for parking. We pay for tickets to get in, including for the kids. We have to pay for the kids to get into this thing too. So we start at one side and we start walking all the way through this home show. Now, 15 minutes into it, the kids are bored off their gourd. They're already bored like crazy. And my wife and I are hammered with salespeople constantly. Hey, get your back straightened. Hey, come check out our little portable sauna. Hey, look at this thing that gets the cat hair out while giving you a cardiovascular workout. This broom, right? And this, look at these dishes. Hey, hey, look at this. Hey. It's like going to a carnival. It's like, let me guess your weight. Let me guess your, it's carnival stuff. Step right up. That's right, you folks, come on. And so halfway through the first aisle, already there's noise and it's loud and the kids are bored and we're just, and we came, there are some cool gadgets though, right? Because I'm walking by and trying to toe that line, that balance, that line of pretending that I'm interested in what the person is selling just so I can grab that really cool pin or a couple golf balls or a potato chip clip holder or any of that stuff, okay? So I'm walking through there, through this show. By the end of the day, in my bank bag, I've got hundreds of dollars worth of literature in this bank bag. It's late. We don't feel like cooking that night, so we go home. We stop and grab something to eat on the way home. We go home. We take this bank bag full of all my gadgets and gadgets that I collected and all this brochure stuff that I swore I was probably going to read, a lot of it, and I set it on the kitchen counter. And then that was maybe Sunday we go to church and we have other stuff to do and all that. And then the week, we go through the week and it sits there. And then Friday we're having company come over and, oh man, we got to clean the house. We can't have it like this. So we take that bag full of stuff, throw it out on the kitchen table, spread it out, grab all the cool gadgets and gadgets out of there, and the rest of all that literature and all that stuff that somebody spent hundreds of dollars on, it goes in the recycling bin. Now, I think that that's probably a fairly common scenario. I think that's probably what happens a lot of the time. So how do you get out of the plastic bag and into somebody's home? How do you test the water? We're going to very briefly go through this and talk about that a little bit. In terms of shows, there's lots of different shows you can do: health and fitness, home and garden, builders, fairs, home improvement, mall, water clinics. We talked about that. You talk to them the same way. Couple things really quick. I don't recommend putting a lot of equipment in the booth. Number one, it's too hard to set up. Number two, people don't know what that is. Just put one softener and one RO in there, just enough to show them what you do for a living. Literature, don't put the big, fancy, expensive literature in the booth. Don't spend all that stuff. It goes in the recycling bin. It's just a waste of money. Have one or two brochures under the table for those people that you've set appointments with. But even them, I recommend that don't let the brochure sell it. That brochure was designed by a marketing person who's probably never been in the home. Okay? Don't try and let the literature sell your equipment. You need to get in that home and build the value up for your own equipment. A brochure with pretty pictures of babies and studs and attractive moms and families is not going to sell your water treatment equipment. It's not going to. That brochure is going to say the same thing as everybody else's brochure. It's just going to have a different logo on it. So what I recommend is if you're going to have literature there, just photocopy it on colored paper and have something there that has a call to action. I suggest that coupon for a free bag of salt, and if they come in the shop, or a free water analysis or something. Business card, I talk to salespeople all the time. They're like, how was the show this weekend? Oh, it was awesome. It was great. I must have handed out 200 business cards. Yeah, that's great. How many appointments you set? Oh, none, but man, I handed out a bunch of them. I call that the business card disease. Okay, those business cards. I mean, it's true. Some people do on occasion call you back, but it happens so rarely. You handed out 200 cards and you get 2 phone calls. I mean, that's good. You got to hand out the cards, but the idea is to get in the home, set the appointment. How do you get people to stop? We make tea. I often make tea. I will post when we post this up on our link, I will post some pictures of one of our clients. I'll post some water clinic pictures up on there, but we have one of our clients is doing this very successfully at every single one of his home shows. He was able to set 42 appointments on from one weekend. 42, not leads, because these aren't numbers of people that he had to call back. This was 42 actual appointments in one weekend at a home show by making tea. And basically what he did is he got 2 coffee pots, he put them side by side. One had tap water right from the city where the show was. The other had RO water. And when people walk by and they can answer a question for you, and they go, "No, we're just looking. Can I at least make a cup of tea for you?" And he would make tea. And he'd had white styrofoam cups and regular old Lipton Pico tea, and some honey and coffee stirrers and sugar, sweetener there. And so when somebody goes, he'd say to people, "Well, can I at least make a cup of tea for you?" And they go, "Sure, I'll have some tea." And so he would go, "I'm actually going to make 2 cups for you." And he'd make the 2 cups of tea in the white styrofoam cups side by side. And the reason he had the coffee pots, the water was already warm, right? One was labeled RO water, one was labeled tap water. And so basically he had about 2 minutes while he was making this tea of their undivided attention, where he could talk to them about reverse osmosis water. Here's the thing a lot of people don't realize when they think about home shows, okay? When you're doing a home show, especially if you're on city water somewhere, if you're doing a home show, remember that only about 11% of the people walking through there buy water softeners. That's according to National WQA study. Okay, about 11% of the people that walk through their own water softener, right? Anywhere between 64 and 67% of the people walking through there buying bottled water as an alternative to their drinking water. So you've got those 4 or 5 other people, your competitors over there, that are selling water softeners, and they're all pushing their water softeners. "Hey, mine's softener, mine's more efficient, mine does this," and blah, 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 and wah, 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 wah. There's all the same stuff. They're pushing those softeners so hard, but they're pushing them on basically a tenth of the people walking through there. Why not talk to the 7 of the 10 people? Focus on the drinking water part. It's going to set you apart from your competition, and you're going to have a lot more qualified people walking through there that are buying bottled water or are interested in drinking water than are interested in water softeners. So make the focus on the drinking water. Magic. If you go to www.delight.com, then I have a YouTube link down here that goes directly to a video. You can see this stuff. You can get it really cheap. I like to do magic. It gets the kids excited. Everybody's happy. It's pocket magic. It's really easy to learn, and it draws people in. People like that kind of stuff. Giveaways. I'm not a big fan of giveaways because I think people just collect them. I mean, I have in my kitchen right now potato chip clip, bag holders that have somebody's logo on it. I could not even tell you whose they are, but I got them at a home show, and I use them all the time. But I don't have a clue. I guarantee I've never made a purchase because of somebody's potato chip holder. If you are going to give away, make it relevant. Okay, if you're doing giveaway, don't give away a DVD player. What's that got to do with water, or a Blu-ray disc player, or an iPad? Why give that stuff away? It doesn't have anything. All you're going to get are those professional entries. The ones who come through with the little stickers and they just slap them on there and put it in the jar. Make it relevant. Make it to where if you're giving something away, give away a case of bottled water, or 5 bags of salt, or something relevant so that people are interested. Make it to where they're qualified leads. You'll get less of them, but they'll be more qualified. Balloons, bubbles. If you have a water cooler, it's a way to drag people into the booth. Not drag them in, but to get them into the booth. They'll come in and they'll do that. Yes, if you're giving away BPA free bottles. Yeah, that's something relevant. Yeah, good suggestion. Okay, what to say now? I want to talk about this right away because this is kind of the secret for home shows, and I want to. The biggest thing when we have, by the way, I have this role play. We have a specific home show presentation on the website. It's a live presentation that you can actually go in and watch, and I actually role play with one of the members of the audience. You'll be able to see this. But remember, at the home show, what are you selling? You are not selling water treatment equipment. You are not selling softeners or reverse osmosis or literature or any of that. What you have to remember, what you are selling is your knowledge, your professionalism. You're selling your answers. Okay? You're selling your knowledge. They are paying for it. You want them to pay for it with their time. Okay, so my thought is, if you can get somebody to spend their time with you, getting them to spend their money with you is way easier. So when somebody walks up to you in your booth and they say, hey, what makes your system better than everybody else's out there? What most salespeople do, the way they answer that is they'll say, oh man, ours is so much more efficient, and it has a longer warranty, and it uses way less salt, and they start just going on and on and on about how their water softener is so much better than everybody else's, which is the exact same thing that all of the competition is saying about their water softeners. So I'll tell you how to answer that in a second. Who's your competition? Your competition is not only the other water treatment people in doing that home show, which, by the way, is a great reason to do water clinics as well, because you don't have any more competition out there. You're doing a water clinic, you're it. They're coming there specifically to see you, period. But who is your competition? It's the gutter people, it's the sauna people, it's the flooring people, it's the bathroom people, it's every other person that has a booth at that home show that's trying to get their money. It's trying to get their money. The countertops and the knobs and all that stuff. Okay. So what types of appointments do you set at the show? Anytime you can. Get in the home. Serve the customer. Get in there and serve that customer. Take care of the customer. Don't worry about making a sale. Okay. You're less likely to make a sale at the show than you are if you have an opportunity to get in the home. So get out there and be willing to check. Somebody says, well, I've already got a water softener. When's the last time you had it checked and tested? Water can change. When's the last time it's been checked to make sure it was adjusted properly? Oh, it's been, I don't know, since they put it in. If you want, I can swing out there and just check it, make sure it's doing everything it's supposed to for you. I'd be happy to just run a quick check on it. Well, why would you do that? Well, because eventually it's going to break, and I want you to keep me in mind. I want you to come back to us when it does. So maybe you're talking to, well, if you want, I can swing out there and check your software, make sure it's doing everything it's supposed to do, and I can also give you a little bit of information on the drinking water system. So if you guys ever decide to do that in the future, at least you'll have a starting point on what to do with it, how they work and everything. So get in that home. So when somebody comes up to you and they says, so what makes your system better than everybody else's system? The way to answer that is with a question. Okay, if I went in and I said, if I went shopping for a car and I said, so how much is a car? How much does a car cost? You can't answer that question. There's no way you can answer that question. You got to know, you want a two-door, you want a four-door, you want a truck, you want a minivan, you want used, you want new, you want this on it or that on it. So why is it that salespeople standing in the booth at a home show do that? Somebody comes up and says, how much for one of these systems? You can't answer that. You don't know what they're looking for, how many people they have in the house, how hard their water is, you've got to find out. That's when you start asking questions. Somebody says, so what makes your system better than ABC Waters over there? Well, what system are you referring to? Are you talking about the drinking water system or the water conditioner? Well, probably the drinking water system, or I don't know, both. Okay, so are you on well water or city water? Well water. Do you have, when's the last time you had your water tested? I don't know, it's been a long time. But I remember I had 2 of iron in there. Was that clear water iron or was it ferric or ferrous iron? Do you know? Do you know that? No. How do you determine that? Well, I'd be happy to swing out and test it. I can, only takes a few minutes to just test it, run a check, and if nothing else, I'll write those samples, write the readings down, give you an idea of what you're looking at as you continue to do your research. It's a little easier to do it that way than, here at the show. And when you're, looking at so many other things. So are you around on the evenings or weekends or daytime? So you start with the question. You have to, like going into a doctor, you got to diagnose the problem. Make them curious enough and find a reason to give them to come out to the house. You got to be at the house. You got to be there at their home. Okay. Any questions? Yeah. Thank you, Jim. Mention, I'd be happy to swing out, test the water. Don't set an appointment at the show, because people set an appointment when they're thinking negatives, right? When they think you set an appointment to go to the doctor when you're sick or something's wrong, or to go to an accountant or a lawyer. Those are appointments. Okay. Mention to them that you'd be happy to swing out, drop by, pop in, but schedule a time to do that. Okay. Time is money. Time is valuable. Okay. Any questions? Any final questions here? I'd be very, very, very happy to hear whether or not you guys found this beneficial, and if there was information that you'd like to know, if you'd like more details on it, please communicate with me, let me know. We are going to really try and do a webinar for MV Pros. What's the best time of the day to do a home show, to do a water clinic or a home show? Water clinic or home show? I always found that the best time of the day is, I love Saturdays between 10 and 2. I love those. Saturdays have always been very successful to me. I always think the evenings, if you can, another place I didn't mention this, if you can do a water clinic at a big subdivision, if you can build a relationship with an association, a homeowners association in a big subdivision, we've had some success doing that too. So in an evening, so if you schedule it like from 4 to 7 one evening at this association, at the beginning of a homeowners association, and, a subdivision. So that's a way. It really depends on where you're doing it. Evenings work well. If you're doing a gym, evenings work well. But Saturdays 10 to 2 have always been my best. So, okay, so we will upload this link within 24 hours. We'll have this uploaded to the website, and we are going to try and do more, so keep a watch out for MV members. We appreciate that very much. Also, please join us Thursday mornings on our MV Pro Call. That's on the website as well. If you have not checked out Moti-Vitality.com, please check it out. There's a lot of great tools and information on there. And we'd love to have you, like I said, Thursday mornings on the MV Pro Call. And everybody, thank you very much for joining us. It's my honor. I very much appreciate it.